Okay, what we're going to do today is we're going to make some homestead fast food, basically. Love brown rice, and love, the flavor's so much better and it's healthier for you than white rice. But sometimes that 45 minutes just isn't in the schedule that it takes to cook it. So what I like to do is to cook it ahead of time, dehydrate it, and then have it on hand for when I need a quick meal. Any other time, if I'm, planning ahead and I have plenty of time, then it's not a big deal. But while I'm going to go ahead and cook and dehydrate some brown rice, I'm going to go ahead and do some jasmine rice while I'm at it and dehydrate it, and it's great for quick soups and meals and just all kinds of great stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to make instant rice out of our regular store-bought rice. And I always have buckets of organic brown rice on hand because we do eat a lot of rice. Just one of those things that we like. And it's also, brown rice is a part of Burr's homemade dog food too. So I'll get this bucket open and we'll go from there. Okay, I measured out 3 cups of the brown rice and 2 cups of the white rice. And you can definitely, whatever measurement you choose is obviously up to you. I already have some white rice dehydrated, and I was just going to make some quickly for Jonathan, so I figured I might as well make a little extra and just dehydrate it since I'm dehydrating. But anyway, so I'm going to add, since I've got 3 cups of brown rice, I'm going to add 6 cups of water to that. Okay, so, and 4 cups of water to the 2 cups of white rice. Okay, my water's measured in both of them, and again, this is something I do. It's just always worked well for me. You can do it or not do it. I add in just a touch of olive oil, literally just a few drips, and it kind of helps it from being real sticky. And then a little bit of salt. I use the sea salt, but again, you can take that or leave that. It's how you prefer your rice. I like it that way, and the oil does not keep it from dehydrating. It doesn't have any fats or grease because it works into the rice, but gets absorbed into the rice. But anyway, so we're gonna put these both, bring them both to a boil. Again, this is how I cook my rice. Everybody has a different way, just showing you my way. I bring these to a boil after I add the touch of oil and a little bit of salt. And once they're at a boil, cover them and turn it down to simmer. Okay? Or some people, you can actually, with the white rice, I know you can just take it off and let it sit for 20 minutes and it'll be done. With the brown rice, I find if you leave it on simmer, it works better. Okay, so the white rice is coming to a boil a little quicker than the brown rice is, all because there's more in the pot, obviously. So we're going to go ahead and cover it and just remove it completely from the heat, and we'll see how that does. And this is just starting to boil, so we'll give it another few minutes, maybe. Okay, the brown rice is at a boil now, so we'll go ahead and we'll just cover it and turn the stove down to simmer. Okay, and then we'll just give it 45 minutes. I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes because I'll wander around and I'll forget about it if I don't. So, okay, after 20 minutes, you'll see it's nice and fluffy, not sticky. Very nice indeed. Okay, so we're going to spread that out onto our trays and let it cool down, and then I use the non-stick liners in my Excalibur dehydrator because the rice, when it dehydrates, it's going to fall through the screens and land on the bottom, so we don't want that to happen. Okay, so spread it out on the tray in as thin layer as possible, and let it cool down. And then once it cools down, then stick it in the dehydrator at 125. So because this finished first, I'll go ahead and I'll spread these out and get them going in the dehydrator, and then I'll add the brown rice in when it gets done. Alright, the timer for the brown rice has gone off. Let's see what we have here. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, fluffy brown rice. So let's see. Look at that. It is. It's nice and fluffy. And brown rice is so hearty, and it's got that wonderful nutty flavor that, and I love white rice too, don't get me wrong, but there's just something about that brown rice. Okay, so that was 45 minutes, okay? Now, just like with the white rice, we're going to let it cool down. Spread it on the sheets, and let it cool down, and then we'll stick it in the dehydrator. When we get there, I'll bring you along. Okay, so that's the brown rice when it's spread. I've got the white rice in the dehydrator. And I'm setting the dehydrator to 125. Okay. My Excalibur dehydrator has 9 trays, which is really nice. So we'll set it to 125. And the white rice is going to dry faster than the brown rice, just like with everything, because it's a lighter, thinner grain, whereas the brown rice is kind of thicker grain. So we'll get the brown rice in when it cools down. One of the things I'll warn you about is when the rice is drying, you know, because the way it's spread, it kind of it's fluffy, but it's still going to kind of stick just a little bit. So as it's drying, go ahead and crumble it up. And the drier it gets, of course, the lighter it's going to get, because all the moisture is going to be out of it. So don't be surprised if you start hearing little tinks in the inside of your dehydrator, because dehydrated rice is kind of moving around in there. And like with mine, sometimes it'll blow down onto the bottom of the dehydrator, which isn't a big deal, because that's another thing I like about the Excalibur. And no, I'm not selling the Excalibur or anything. Just making some points here. Another thing that I like about the Excalibur is the motor is in the back. The fan is in the back, so if stuff falls down here, it's not a big deal. I can get it out of there. Just keep it clean, and you can just scoop your rice up out of there, and it's not a big deal. So we've got our rice on the way. Brown rice is cooling and almost ready to go on. Okay, we're an hour into the dehydrating, and you'll see that the jasmine rice is already getting crisp around the edges, so just keep an eye on it. There's parts of it that are still not dry, and the brown rice, same thing. Just starting on the brown rice, more so in the back. So I'm gonna turn the tray, and you'll see right now I can actually pick up clumps of it. If it dries like that, it's not a problem, because if you'll see here where it's already drying in the back, it'll just break apart. But this will be a nice quick meal for you in the future. And you don't need to do this. I'm just trying to show you the texture of it right now. You don't have to turn it over or anything. Like I said, it's just an hour into it, so I'm just turning the trays. It's probably going to take about 3 hours total. Maybe a little bit longer. I'm going to guess about 3 hours though. After the first 2 hours, you can always turn up the temperature a little bit if you want. You just want to make sure you don't hard case it, you know, dry it on the outside and then moisture stay on the inside. So let it go for at least 2 hours before you turn that temp up. Okay, so both trays of the jasmine rice are finished, and you'll see they're like solidly dry, crumbly. So even though it was kind of clumped together, you see it just comes right apart, so that's not even a problem. And you see how it covered the whole tray, and now it just barely covers anything. 2 of the trays of the brown rice are not completed, and we're about 6 hours in now. And what I did is, there's a lot more humidity in the air today than I had thought there was, but so this is what the brown rice will look like. And then you literally just grab how much ever you want and throw it into your soups or your stews or whatever you're making that day, and you now have brown rice in minutes rather than 45 minutes. Okay? So, after 2 hours, I did turn it up to 135 degrees, and as you see, it dried inside and out. So, perfect.